Nala the gorilla had a very unusual pregnancy and an even more shocking delivery, so much so that everyone screamed when they saw what she gave birth to. Nala, a beloved gorilla at the heart of her zoo, had a story that touched the hearts of all who knew her. She was born into the heart of the African rainforest, a testament to the wild beauty of her species. Tragically, her mother had fallen victim to poachers when Nala was just a vulnerable infant, leaving her orphaned and alone. Rescued by a team of dedicated conservationists, she was given a second chance at life. She was brought to WildHaven Zoo, where compassionate zookeepers and staff welcomed her with open arms. They nurtured her with love and care, providing her with a safe haven to grow and thrive. Over the years, Nala formed strong bonds with her caretakers, forging a deep connection that transcended the barriers of species. They were often amazed by how clever and intelligent she was. Now a mature gorilla, Nala had become impressively social. However, only a few days after her 11th birthday, her keepers noticed that something extraordinary was stirring within her. She started acting differently, exhibiting subtle changes in behavior that caught their attention. The team watched her closely, their concern mingled with curiosity. Nala had no appetite, bouts of morning sickness, and spent most of her days sleeping. Suspecting that something was happening to her, the caretakers quickly had her tested, but what they found was absolutely unexpected. It turned out that Nala was pregnant. Apparently, she had become very close with Jam Jam, a temporary resident at the zoo who had been brought there a few months before. The news filled the team with a mixture of awe and excitement. It was a beautiful thing to see the young orphaned gorilla they raised now becoming a mother. And so, a new chapter in Nala's life was about to unfold. The team, guided by their dedication and the expertise of Dr. Sarah Mitchell, prepared to support Nala through every step of her pregnancy, knowing that the impending birth would be a momentous occasion for both the gorilla and the zoo itself. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a seasoned veterinarian with years of experience in gorilla care, joined forces with the zookeepers to closely monitor Nala's behavior. They spent hours observing her, documenting every nuance and change in her daily routine. As they meticulously analyzed her day-to-day activities, they noticed additional peculiarities that hinted this pregnancy wasn't going to be like any other they'd seen at the zoo. Nala became more withdrawn, seeking solitude in the corners of her enclosure. She did a complete 180, exhibiting an increased appetite, devouring her meals with an almost ravenous hunger. The experts joined hands to take the best care of her, adjusting her diet to ensure she received proper nutrients for herself and her unborn baby. The zookeepers increased their vigilance, monitoring her around the clock, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. It is not unusual for pregnant animals to become withdrawn from their friends, herds, or packs. Their first instinct is to protect the baby they carry, and for this reason, they tend to isolate themselves. But Nala's behavior was becoming concerning. She wasn't just avoiding her peers, she was refusing to come out of her favorite spot and interact with anyone, caretakers included. She had been very social up until that moment, and this sudden change left everyone puzzled. She spent most of her time asleep or lying down, almost as if she was too weak to function or too scared to approach her old friends inside the enclosure. Still, Dr. Sarah decided not to separate her from the rest of her adoptive family, believing that such a drastic change would be detrimental to her mental health. As the days turned into weeks, Nala's restlessness peaked, and her protectors stood ready, their hearts filled with a mix of anticipation and nervousness. They all knew she was about to give birth and couldn't wait to see her return to her cheerful, active self. As excitement continued to fill the air at WildHaven Zoo, a new veterinarian and gorilla specialist, Dr. Mark Turner, joined the team. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the experienced caretaker of the animals, initially had doubts about Dr. Mark. Their different approaches to gorilla care led to some tension between them. Their contrasting perspectives became evident during discussions on dietary preferences, enrichment strategies, and even daily routines. One incident that heightened their differences occurred when it came to the subject of gorilla socialization. Dr. Sarah believed that fostering strong social bonds among the gorillas was crucial for their psychological well-being. She advocated for allowing the gorillas to freely interact with one another, mimicking the natural dynamics observed in the wild. Dr. Mark, however, had concerns about potential conflicts and injuries that could arise from unchecked socialization, leaning towards implementing a more controlled approach, limiting interactions to minimize the risk of aggression or harm. The newcomer believed that Nala was a perfect example of this approach. Seeing her so distant and withdrawn prompted him to advocate for her removal from the shared enclosure, directly against Dr. Sarah's previous decision. The pregnant gorilla became a study case for the two doctors. While Sarah encouraged her to interact with her old friends, Mark helped her build an even more secluded hiding spot inside the enclosure and often physically placed himself between her and the other gorillas, including Jam Jam, the father of her baby. Their differing opinions on this matter became a source of frustration and division within the team. The zookeepers found themselves caught in the middle, torn between the methods they had grown accustomed to under Dr. Sarah's guidance and the new protocols proposed by Dr. Mark. But fate had something unexpected in store. Nala, the gorilla at the center of their disagreements, went into labor earlier than anyone had anticipated. Much, much earlier. Some zookeepers joked that she was simply tired of the two doctors arguing over her well-being, but the vets themselves knew that something more serious was happening. They just didn't know what. Everyone was thrown into an immediate frenzy, and the imminent arrival of new life acted as a catalyst for change. The urgency of the situation compelled Dr. Sarah and Dr. Mark to set aside their differences and focus on the shared goal of providing the best possible care for Nala and her soon-to-be-born baby. The feeling of unity between Dr. Sarah and Dr. Mark began to strengthen as they worked side by side, ensuring that Nala received the comprehensive care she needed. But this birth was proving more difficult than they expected. Nala was groaning and roaring in pain for hours, with no sign of the baby yet. Looking at the gorilla writhing in pain, the two doctors grew increasingly worried. Hours stretched into what felt like an eternity as she bravely endured each contraction. The zookeepers remained steadfast, offering unwavering support and encouragement to the determined gorilla mother. In the wild, animals don't have the luxury of medical support, and vets usually step aside to avoid interfering with Mother Nature. But as the labor progressed, it became evident that Nala needed medical assistance. Dr. Sarah and Dr. Mark made the difficult decision to intervene to ensure the safe delivery of her baby. The pair stood side by side, their initial disagreements set aside, replaced by a shared determination to provide the best possible care for the gorilla mother and her soon-to-be-born offspring. They had to take a look and figure out why Nala was having such a difficult birth. With quick hands, Dr. Sarah worked in silence, and what she discovered sent her reeling. Unfortunately, Nala was struggling because she had placenta previa, a condition in which the placenta was lying on the entrance of Nala's cervix, blocking her baby's path out. They would have to intervene surgically. As Nala's contractions worsened, everyone in the room hurriedly prepared for an emergency C-section. C-sections on gorillas are rare, but they knew they'd had to try and save both mother and baby. Given the unusual nature of the procedure, the zookeepers decided to film it to provide useful material to doctors and vets worldwide. Once the procedure began, the team's gazes and cameras remained fixed on the laboring gorilla, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and concern. With skillful expertise, the two doctors performed the C-section. The tension in the room was palpable as the team held their breath, praying for a positive outcome. Then, all of a sudden, the room erupted in joyous cheers as Dr. Sarah carefully extracted a small gorilla from Nala's belly. She proudly announced that it was a female, and the zookeepers started browsing suitable names for the little gorilla. But the team's excitement quickly turned to shock when they realized that wasn't the end. Only a few minutes later, Dr. Sarah pulled out another small gorilla, eliciting a chorus of screams from her colleagues. With gorillas, females often give birth to only one baby every 4 to 6 years and only 3 or 4 over their entire lifetime. Twin births with gorillas are rare, and both babies surviving birth is even more so. Dr. Sarah and Dr. Mark checked one baby each, then both gave a thumbs up to confirm that they were breathing properly and in good shape despite the ordeal. Nala had not only delivered one child, but 2 healthy gorillas. It was a miracle. Everyone cheered in surprise, and the room erupted as they all screamed and clapped. After the procedure, Nala was quickly taken care of and left to rest in a separate enclosure. Everyone on the team was eager to tend to her little ones while she recuperated. They were small and fragile, but their lungs were strong, and their tiny hands soon learned how to grab and hold on to the scraps of food the caretakers offered them. Finally, Nala came to a few days later and reunited with her offspring. Despite having been separated from them right after birth, she immediately rushed to hug them and let her innate motherly instincts take over. The team stood in awe of the miracle they had witnessed, a double blessing that defied expectations and filled their hearts with an indescribable sense of wonder. When the news of Nala, the gorilla delivering twins, reached the zoological community, many reacted with shock and disbelief. Rarely had such an extraordinary event been witnessed, and the implications for gorilla conservation efforts were immense. Nala's story transcended the boundaries of a local zoo event. It had become a global phenomenon that demanded close scrutiny. Researchers were well aware of the rarity of gorilla twins, with only a handful of documented cases in the history of primate studies. The chance to observe this exceptional occurrence up close was an unparalleled opportunity, one that could provide valuable insights into the reproductive behaviors and biology of these magnificent creatures. And so dozens of researchers and vets flocked to the zoo, all of them scrambling to get a good look at the cute family of primates. Considering that gorillas have now become endangered due to poaching, loss of habitat, and disease, finding a zoo that was successfully contributing to the repopulation of the species was amazing. The researchers watched with wonder as Nala interacted with her twins, witnessing the tender bond that had formed between the mother and her offspring. Her nurturing instincts were on full display as she lovingly cared for each of her babies. Beyond the emotional connection that the researchers witnessed, they were also eager to collect vital data that could contribute to the understanding of gorilla twin births. Observations of Nala's maternal behavior, feeding patterns, and how she divided her attention between the twins were all valuable pieces of the puzzle. Each moment offered a glimpse into the intricacies of gorilla family dynamics, an area that remained relatively uncharted in scientific literature. In addition to behavioral observations, the researchers seized the opportunity to conduct medical examinations on Nala's twins. Health assessments, growth measurements, and genetic testing were meticulously performed to ascertain the well-being and genetic uniqueness of each baby. This data would not only aid in their immediate care, but also prove invaluable for future studies on gorilla reproduction and genetics. The news of this exceptional birth invigorated efforts to protect gorilla habitats and ensure their survival in the wild. Nala's offspring became symbolic of the hope and resilience that conservationists carried in their fight against the threats faced by gorillas and other endangered species. But despite the rare and amazing occurrence that the zoo had just witnessed, all was far from well for the workers and managers. WildHaven Zoo, nestled amidst the tranquil beauty of its surroundings, had been facing a daunting obstacle that threatened its very existence: crippling financial challenges that cast a shadow over its future. The zookeeper staff and the passionate caretakers of the animals have been struggling to navigate the treacherous waters of securing the resources necessary to keep the zoo afloat. Tom Wilson, a seasoned senior zookeeper with a deep love for the zoo and its inhabitants, emerged as a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. Recognizing the urgent need to secure the necessary funding for the zoo's expansion and survival, he took it upon himself to devise innovative strategies that would attract more visitors and generate the financial resources essential for overcoming their current plight. Undeterred by the enormity of the challenge, Tom was certain he could turn the tides. Drawing upon his years of experience and intimate knowledge of the zoo's strengths, he devised a comprehensive fundraising plan that would showcase the remarkable stories and unique experiences that WildHaven had to offer. One of these stories was Nala and her miracle twins. Everyone understood why Tom had included Nala and her babies. As they watched her recuperate, they also saw the twins get stronger. Sure, gorilla twin births were rare, but seeing both babies survive the first few hours or days of life was even rarer. Sometimes it was due to a mother's neglect of one or congenital reason that left both babies malformed and incompatible with life. These two were defying the odds with every minute they spent alive. There was no doubt that people would travel far and wide to see this beautiful family of three. Tom's unwavering determination and passion gradually started to yield results. The media attention surrounding Nala's pregnancy and impending birth provided a timely boost to his fundraising efforts. Recognizing the rare and captivating nature of Nala's story, Tom coordinated efforts with the marketing team, reaching out to local and national media outlets to highlight the extraordinary narrative that was quietly building within the zoo's walls. News outlets eagerly picked up the story, spreading the word and generating increased interest in WildHaven Zoo. The public's curiosity was piqued, and speculation swirled about the captivating event that was about to unfold. The media coverage served as a powerful catalyst, fueling the momentum of Tom's fundraising initiatives. The arrival of journalists was met with both excitement and a touch of apprehension. The zookeepers and staff were afraid that their presence would disturb the animals, but at the same time recognized the potential impact that media coverage could have on the zoo's future. They understood that positive publicity and increased visitor numbers were vital to their ongoing mission of conservation and providing exceptional care to the animals, and they tried to help in whichever way they could. Interviews with the zookeepers, Dr. Sarah Mitchell and Dr. Mark Turner, became a daily occurrence. The team eloquently shared their experiences and expertise, painting a vivid picture of their unwavering commitment to the animals in their care. They described Nala's journey and the challenges they had faced so far. With each passing day, the zoo's gates saw a steady increase in footfall. Families and individuals, drawn by the promise of witnessing the remarkable journey of Nala and her twins, flocked to WildHaven, their presence breathing life into the once struggling zoo. The renewed influx of visitors brought with it a surge of revenue, helping the zoo alleviate its financial burdens. Nala's story had not only saved WildHaven Zoo from financial turmoil, but had also ignited a global conversation about the significance of preserving and cherishing our planet's precious creatures. Crucial discussions about endangered wildlife and how they could be saved were also more significant in these gatherings. Through the power of media, the remarkable journey of Nala and her twins became a symbol of resilience, unity, and the inherent value of all life. And so, as the media frenzy slowly subsided, the impact it had on WildHaven Zoo remained indelible. The increased awareness, support, and public engagement became the bedrock on which the zoo continued to flourish. Nala's story had not only brought financial stability, but it also reaffirmed the zoo's commitment to conservation, education, and the eternal wonder of the animal kingdom. It was a tale of resilience, unity, and the miracle of life that touched hearts worldwide, reminding everyone of the enchanting and fascinating world that animals offer us. To this day, Nala and her babies, Zoe and Cooch, are still alive and well, proving that miracles and dreams can come true. The reality of gorilla endangerment is one that is still quite pressing in today's world, but thanks to the efforts of zoos, sanctuaries, and reserves, their future is looking a little brighter.